Hey guys, this is my redemption round for our 1.7 notes on angle bisectors. You may recall that I had a typo that really stuck a stick in our spokes in class. So we're going to try it again. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is use the definition of angle and angle bisector. So it would be helpful to know what that was. So an angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. Two congruent angles. So we've got, if you look over here, we've got JK bisecting LJM, this one. So the two congruent angles that it's making are this one, LJK, angle LJK, is congruent to angle KJM. KJM. Up here. Okay, so when I put those little arcs on, this is called coding. You can do it for angles. If I know segments are congruent, I can mark the segments congruent with little ticks. We talked about that. That's coding. All right, let's look at an example. All right, we have to draw and code a picture using this information. We know that YX bisects angle WYZ. So let's draw angle WYZ. Okay, we know that Y has to be the vertex because it's listed in the middle. And then I can put W and Z on the rays, the sides. Oops, that should be a Z. Okay, and it's YX that's bisecting. Okay, now if it's bisecting, I know that these angles are congruent. So I'm going to mark them with the same number of arcs. So I drew the picture with all the labeled information, and then I did the coding. Okay, we have some more information. We know that the measure of angle WYZ, that's the big kahuna, is 7B plus 15. Okay, we know the measure of angle XYW is 3B plus 10. Okay, but if that one's 3B plus 10, so is this one. So really we have two 3B plus 10s that if we add them together will give us the 7B plus 15. So that is our equation that we have to solve. So we've got two of the little angle, the 3B plus 10 equals one of the big angle, 7B plus 15. Now we just have a little bit of algebra to do. So we'll distribute the 2. We get 6B plus 20 equals 7B plus 15. I want all my B's on one side, so I subtract 7B from both sides. Okay, now I've got negative B plus 20 equals 15. Subtract 20 from both sides. And I get the opposite of B is negative 5, so B has to be positive 5. So I know B is 5. Now I just have to plug 5 in to the two expressions that they gave me, and I will have the measures of the angles. So the first one that they want me to plug into is the little baby pink one, XYW. Okay, XYW is the 3B plus 10. So I want 3 times 5, that was my B, plus 10. Well, 3 times 5 is 15 plus 10. I get 25 degrees. Now, if I've done this correctly, my big angle should be 50 degrees because it should just be twice my little one. But let's plug it in and double check. So let's say 3 times 5, so that's the other one. 7 times 5 plus 15. Okay, well 7 times 5 is 35. Add 5 is 40. Add 10 more is 50. Hey, they won't take away my math medal today. We got it. Whoop, whoop. All right, next one. Okay, so we have to draw and code again. We know that BD bisects ABC. Okay, so first I'm going to draw ABC. Okay, B has to be my vertex because it's in the middle of the points listed for my angle. Put A up here, C down here, doesn't really matter for those two. And then BD is the bisector. That's point D. Okay, now if it's a bisector, I know that ABD and DBC are congruent. So they get coded with the same number of arcs. That's coding. Okay, we're given some more information. We know that the measure of angle ABD is 1/2 y plus 10. And the measure of DBC, angle DBC, is y plus 4. Okay, but those two are congruent, so their measures have to be equal. So that's my equation. I can just set 1/2 y plus 10 equal to y plus 4. So that's what we're going to do. So 1/2 y plus 10 equals y plus 4. I'm going to set it up the other way. It doesn't really matter except that this way will be prettier. Y plus 4 equals 1/2 y plus 10. All right. If you wrote it the other way, you're going to be fine. So I want all my y's on one side of the equation. So I'm going to subtract my half y from both sides. Okay? And this is 1y right there. Now, if I have a whole y and I subtract a half a y, then I just have half a y left. So I'm going to have 1/2 y plus 4 equals 10. Then I get to subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, that gives me 1/2 y equals 6. Okay, I want a 2 over a 2, so that makes a 1y. I don't want 1/2 y. So I'm going to have to multiply this side by 2, which is the reciprocal of 1/2, and multiply this side by 2. That gives me my 2 over 2, and my 2's cancel, they make a 1. I get y equals 12. So I put that on my line, and now I just have to plug it in to find these other measures. So ABD is 1/2 of my y, which is 12, plus 10. Half of 12 is 6, plus 10 is 16 degrees. Whoa, my picture is way wrong. I drew my angles too big. It's fine. Not to scale, people, not to scale. All right, measure of angle ABC should be twice that, because that's the big one. So that should be 32. Okay, next. All right, this is the one that went so badly for me in class. We all remember that as a sad day. Okay, so Km bisects JKL. So let's code that on our picture. I'm giving them the same number of arcs to show that they're congruent. Now we know that the measure of JKM is 4x plus 6, and the measure of MKL is 7x minus 12. So we have to find x and then all of those angles. Oh my goodness. So first thing we're going to do is write down all of the stuff that they gave us as our given. So we'll have KM bisects angle JKL. We know that the measure, here I'm going to put this in different colors. The measure of angle JKM is 4x plus 6. And we also know that the measure of angle MKL is 7x minus 12. Okay, how do we know all those lovely little nuggets? They were given to us. Okay, the next thing we know is that we already marked it on our picture, JKM and MKL are congruent. And so here's the thing. We have to get some equation with their angle measures, okay, that we can solve. But to get their angle measures, we need to have a relationship on being able to say, okay, what's congruent to what? So that's what we're going to do. So we know that those two are congruent because of the definition of a bisector. So we're going to say angle JKM is congruent to angle MKL. And that is because of the definition of an angle bisector. Okay, next. We know that if they're congruent, their measures are equal. So the measure of angle JKM is equal to the measure of angle MKL. And that is because of the definition of congruent. Okay, now we can make a substitution and substitute in our algebraic expressions for those measures. So the measure of angle JKM is 4x plus 6, and that has to be equal to the measure of MKL, angle MKL, which is 7x minus 12. And we know that because of the substitution property. Okay, now it's just algebra. The geometry part is kind of over. All right, so I want all my x's on one side and my constants on the other, so I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. Okay, that gives me a negative 3x plus 6 equals a negative 12. That was the subtraction property of equality. Okay, next. I want my x's alone. I subtract 6 from both sides. That gives me negative 3x equals negative 18. That was also the subtraction property of equality. Okay, last. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. I'm going to do it in my head. And I get x equals positive 6. That is the division property of equality. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Remember we got like a negative number and we knew that it couldn't be negative because when we plugged it in, we got negative lengths or negative angle. I don't know. We did something weird. I don't remember what happened. Okay, so x was, I forgot. Is it 6? Yes, 6. Okay, now we just have to plug it in. So MKL, that's my blue one. Angle MKL, its measure is 7 times x minus 12. 7 times 6 is 42. Take away 12 is 30 degrees. Oops, I wrote 30 is what I meant. Okay. Measure of JKM is 4 times 6 plus 6. Okay, 4 times 6 is 24, plus 6 is also 30. Okay, now the big one, JKL, is those two added together, thanks to the angle addition postulate. So that one is going to be 60 degrees. Pow! Here, I'll let you look at the whole thing. So if you need to look at the whole thing, just pause it right now, and you can see the whole thing. Okay. Next. This time we have to draw and code again and do a proof. Whew. Okay. So we know that QS bisects PQR. Q has to be the vertex. PQR, QS. Okay, and if it's bisecting, these are congruent. Okay, that was my code. Okay, now I know some other information. It says the measure of PQS, angle PQS is 5y minus 1. That's from here to there. Okay, then it says the measure of angle PQR, that's the whole thing. PQR, that's the big one. That one is 8y plus 12. Okay, so we have to find y and the measure of angle PQS. So let's first write down our given information. Okay, so we know ray QS bisects angle PQR. Next, we know that the measure of angle PQS equals 5y minus 1. I could have written that smaller. Let me try that again, sorry. Measure of angle PQS equals 5y minus 1. And last, we know measure of angle PQR 8y plus 12. Okay, how do we know all those delightful little nuggets? They were given to us. All right. So, just like we did on the front, we know that 2 of the little angle, because they're congruent, have to add up to the big angle. Okay, so next we're going to say 2 of the little pink one, 2 times the measure of angle PQS equals the measure of angle PQR. Okay, this comes from the definition of a bisector. Okay, now that I've got my equation set up, all I have to do is plug in my algebraic expressions using the substitution property and then go to town on the algebra. So it'll be 2 times 5y minus 1 equals 8y plus 12. And that was the substitution property. Okay, next I'm going to distribute. So I get 10y minus 2 equals 8y plus 12. That was the distribution property. Okay. Subtract 8y from both sides and I get 2y minus 2 equals 2. That was the subtraction property of equality. Okay, next. Add 2 to both sides. That gives me 2y equals 4. That was the addition property of equality. And last, divide by 2. We get y equals 2. That was the division property of equality. Okay, so y is 2. Fill in my blanks. Now, PQS, that's my one that I did in pink. PQS, 5y minus 1. So 5 times 2 minus 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Take away 1. That should be 9 degrees. Okay, well, it's not going to be a surprise to you, but I made a copy error and it messed up my answer. So looking back, you see this 12? I only wrote 2. Okay, so we need to change that 12 to that 2 to a 12. Okay, so then when we add 2 to that, it should be 12 plus 2, which is 14. So when we divide by 2, it's not 2, it's 7. Sorry, people. Okay, so y is not 2, it is 7. So when we plug in, I just felt like 9 degrees was a little small. So I went back and checked. Okay, so it'll be 5 times 7 minus 1 5 times 7 is 35. Take away 1, that is 34 degrees. Sorry about that. I gotta fire my secretary. Just kidding, the secretary is me. I'm both.